What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and as always, thank y'all very much for tuning in. Really appreciate each and every one of you. Took the weekend off from reviews last week, and some of you guys got pissed, so my bad. But last night we had round 4 of AMA Supercross and the Super Motocross World Championship, and it was the Triple Crown, baby. You gotta love those. But round 4 in Houston, we saw Deegan Domination in the 250 class. We had some insane 450 racing with several riders having a shot at the win heading into the final main. We had a big crash for Tomac that luckily buffed out. A main contender is back in the fight that I told you all not to write off. I don't believe we had any casualties in SMX next, so that's a positive, and all in all, we had some great racing all night long. But as always, before we get into all that stuff, you guys know the deal. Got to give a huge thank you to my channel sponsors. They're the ones who help keep me going and get me to all the races I go to, so please do me a favor and go check them out. Huge thank you to ASV Inventions, home of the Unbreakable Lever. Serious Studios got you covered on all your merch needs, and the DesignLabCo.com. They got some awesome designs in their lab at their co. And if you need graphics, look no further. And can't forget about my newest supporter, Simplify, which is an automatic booking and payment system for solo entrepreneurs that can make your business run much better and much more efficient. I have links and discount codes and all that fun stuff in my video description. If you guys buy from them, a small portion of the sale goes to me to help keep the channel going and help get us to the races we're going to. So if you're supporting them, you are quite literally supporting me. And last thing, myself and Daniel Blair are calling the action for GT Arena Cross this year on Fox Sports 1 and Fox Sports 2. Here are the airing dates. Please do me a favor and tune in. Not only will it help me keep my job, but I really think you'll be very entertained, and I hope you guys enjoy today's video. To start off, some thoughts on the Triple Crown racing. I don't know about you guys, but I freaking love it. More racing that counts for points and money, 3 starts that gives 3 opportunities for more parity and different outcomes. And when you have multiple guys coming into the 3rd race with a chance to win, it's like a sore pecker. You can't beat it. I feel like most of the fans get really heavy on the bandwagon of either loving or hating the Triple Crowns, pretty much just based off how the last one went. But I've always been a fan of them. Not every night of racing is going to be a banger. We've seen plenty of not very exciting 20-minute mains, so every once in a while you'll have that in the Triple Crown contract as well, but the potential for action is much higher in Triple Crowns in my opinion. I can't wait for the next one, and this one delivered big time. Call it USPS, UPS, and FedEx combined. Now, some thoughts on the track in Houston. Not the best layout, but the track actually ended up racing really well due to how much it broke down. If it stayed smooth, I don't really think it would have been a good night of racing. It might have been a boring national, but it got super rutted, very gnarls Barkley. Line choice was super key, and this was the first track with dirt like this that we've seen this season. So with that in mind, I would only assume that some of the guys were thrown for a loop with their setup. But as far as the obstacles go, I'm not really a huge fan of how every section was pretty much just a 3-3-3 yacht, yacht, yacht. The longer lanes are usually good. It gives people room to get up alongside another guy and make a pass, but in these sections, there weren't a ton of options. I really wish we could kind of get away from the standard 3-5-3 jump sizes, maybe throw some different stuff in there, maybe a 2, a 6, or a 9, something like that would be cool. I liked how they had the whoop set up to where you could carry some speed into them with the run-up. I wish they were a little bit more of a factor in terms of size and difficulty. Didn't really see a whole lot happen there, not a ton of time gained and lost there, and that's usually one of the biggest separators on the track, but I mean, at least we're inching towards more than 9 whoops. That's definitely a positive, and I think we'll get there when it's time. But all in all, I think they can get a little bit more creative with the baseball stadiums rather than the football ones, just based off the footprint of the stadium. But luckily, as we head east to more football stadiums, the dirt's just going to keep on getting even softer, and we're going to begin to see even more track deterioration coming soon. Get ready for the Corduroy Pants Invitational. But now we'll get into the results in the 250 class. A 1-1-1 sweep. It's the danger zone, and we're living in it. Hayden Deegan, total domination. And last year, even though he was the champ, he still had some holes in his game. The starts weren't there. Not quite elite in the whoops yet and stuff like that. But this year, it seems like he's put all the pieces of the puzzle together. The starts still aren't perfect, but they're good enough. He does damage early and gets right to the front. He's clearly shown that he's a dominant guy in this class. I mean, I picked him for the championship, but I had Levi Kitchen and Max Anstey and guys like that putting up a whole lot more of a fight than they have, and we're only 4 rounds into this thing, and he's already got like a full race lead. I think it's safe to say this is the best Hayden Deegan we've ever seen in Supercross, and it's just in time because next year he's getting thrown to the wolves in the 450 class. And I know a lot of you guys are like, oh, I cannot wait till he goes to the 450s and gets smoked and this and that, but on this current trajectory, he's looking pretty good to go to the 450 and be a factor immediately. Then in the 2 spot, a 2-2-3 for Levi Kitchen. The dude finally made it through the first corner 3 times in a row, actually. He crashes in the first corner the first 3 races of the season and then makes it through the next 3, so I hope that's not a pattern, but great bounce back for Levi to finally find himself on the box. Who doesn't love some box? But the way Levi started out at the beginning of the year, I definitely would have said he was the fastest guy in the class. I mean, he went fastest in 3 out of the 4 first qualifying sessions of the year. But starting at A2, Deegan's come back with a vengeance. He's been fastest in the qualifying sessions, in the mains, you name name it. He's kind of had Levi covered in this one, but if I'm Levi, I'm probably just stoked I made it through the second corner and got on the box. I'm sure he's not super stoked that he had the lead and gave it up to Hayden late in the race and got the finger gun, but we'll get there when it's time. I mean, when you go from crashing in the first corner 3 times in a row to getting a second, I feel like it's not a whole lot to complain about, really. Then in the 3 spot, rounding out the podium, 2 PC Cowies on the box. Mitch has got to love that, but Cameron McAdoo. I feel like this guy's gotten a little bit of a bad rap over the years because of a couple of spectacular crashes, but I really don't think Cam is all that loose, especially now. He's really done a lot of hard work to perfect the craft and try to change as much of a loose unit as he used to be, but a 3-3-4, consistent on the box. They had Anstey in there in that third main event, but Cam and Levi pretty much separated themselves as the 2-3 guys in the pecking order all night long. And you hate to see that McAdoo caught the cross jump from Deegan, and he's well out of this championship, along with pretty much everybody else in the field, but he's bounced back 2 podiums now in 3 races, and coming from a guy who raced Cam growing up and didn't even know who he was for the longest time because he was not a good rider at all, I'm a fan of this rise. Hard work pays off, no choice. Then a 4th for Max Handbrake Voland on the Club MX Yamaha, a 5, 4, and a 6. Maybe a little bit of a bummer for Max to get such good starts and not quite end up on the box, but I mean, these guys he's racing with are unbelievable riders, and the dude's got a handbrake. I mean, I know he says it doesn't affect him, but there's no way it's not some sort of a factor out there. I think there's disadvantages, and I think there's advantages to using it. But either way, Max is making it work. A 4th is solid, and the Club MX Yamaha guys are firing this year. I think the raw speed's even better than the results column, but stay tuned to Voland and Yoder because these guys are barking. Then a 5th for Ryder D. We'll get a top 5 when it's time. Consistent 6.55. And this may not have been the best race of the year for Ryder D, but all in all, it's been really cool to see him kind of get his rise to the top end this year. The kid had an insane amateur pedigree. He had championships coming out the ass. And for whatever reason, it just hasn't come together for him yet in the pros. It's not like there's one thing you can point to, like, oh, he's partying or he's not doing this. So that always makes it tough, but I feel like he's been working hard, and it's finally coming together for him. So great job to Ryder D. Then a 6 for Anstey. The championship run is officially falling apart here. A 10, 6, and a 2 for the 6th spot. And don't get me wrong, I'm no genius, but I kind of predicted this with Max. He's really good about firing early, coming out of the blocks hot, but he kind of tapers off and then fades as the season goes. So that's kind of exactly what we've seen here. A little bit of a bummer for it to happen so early. I was hoping he would give Deegan a little bit more of a run down the stretch, but not on the contract. 6 for Anstey. Then a 7th, Hunter Yoder, 8, 7, 7, and this is another one just like Voland. I feel like the speed, the talent, and the potential are quite a bit higher than we're actually seeing in the results. I actually went down to Club MX right before Anaheim won and watched Hunter Yoder and Max Voland get some laps in on their track, and I would have sworn that you could not go any faster out there. But when you get to the race, it's a little bit of a different story. I mean, there's little inches here and there add up to a second or two a lap sometimes. But even through a knee injury, the dude blew his knee out right before A1, went and got some procedure done at McGinley Clinic, and he's still out there barking top 10s. So you gotta love Yoder being a warrior and soldiering through the pain, but a great ride for Yoder to get a 7th. That might even be a career best or tie a career best. I don't know, I'm probably fake news, but then an 8th for Michael Mosiman, the piano man. Sing us a song about inconsistency. 4, 14, and an 8. And another bummer because he was in there, second in points. He was one of the last guys that could have brought the fight to Deegan, but no matter what he did on this night, he wasn't going to bring much fight to Deegan because he went 1-1-1. But there's the mulligan for Mosiman, 8th overall, and a huge hit in the points. And rounding out the top 10 in this 250 class, a 9th for Parker Ross, another consistent ride, 9, 8, 9. Great job to him, and he was probably wishing those Triple Crown mains were 20 minutes plus 2 each one. Ross has 2 jobs, and he does not get tired. And then rounding out the top 10, Carson Mumford with a 7, 9, and a 15. Kind of took a hit on that last main. And I'm a little bit bummed on Mumford. I feel like, the top 10's not bad, but this kid is such a good rider. So much potential. Caught the short end of the stick with the whole Geico Honda deal, but he's still out there trying to make it happen, and he's got so much potential. It's just hard to put all those puzzle pieces together. But he got himself a top 10. Now we'll move on to some thoughts in the 450 class, and this 450 class was a banger. Such great action. And with the win, I told you guys not to write him off. Right as y'all started sleeping on him, he woke you guys up. Cooper Webb gets the Triple Crown win with a 4, 2, and a 3. And that was so Cooper Webb to win that thing like that. Going down to the wire, third main, not even fighting for the race win. And of course, he's doing it with Ken Roczen. I mean, how many times have we seen that? But despite not a good start to the season at all for Cooper Webb, I knew he was going to come on at some point because if he didn't, it would be over. And Cooper Webb's not racing these things to not be a championship contender. He's a 3-time champ. He wants a 4th. It's actually insane how many of you guys are discounting Cooper Webb's credentials, but he's back. He got the win. Great track conditions for him. He was able to cut down underneath all those ruts and stuff like that. And like I said, we got a couple more west rounds, but once we head east, that's going to be right up Cooper Webb's alley. He's just getting started, and I think he may or may not be right where he wants to be. Well, actually, I'm sure he'd like to be a little bit further up, but I'm sure he's not tripping too hard. Then in the 2 spot, we had Hunter Lawrence with a 7, 1, and a 2. And kind of a bummer for Hunter. I feel like that was a night where he really could have got that first win. But at the same time, you could have said that about a lot of the guys in the field if they just didn't have that one mistake. But that's what you got to love about the Triple Crown. You got to do it 3 times in a row. Consistency is key. But a 7-1-2 for Hunter, that first main really did him in. If he would have just stayed where he's at, he would have had the overall and almost the points lead. But he comes up just short for another second place. And that first win has got to be coming. I really hope Hunter doesn't become Mr. Second Place, Second Fiddle, because he deserves a win. He's been riding good enough to win. And talk about holding it down while Jet's gone. Hunter has absolutely overexceeded my expectations 100%. I love to see it. Then a third for Ken Roxon, a 1, a 5, and a 4. I actually thought Kenny could get the win in this thing, that fast twitch, short national type action. He crushed the first main, but then a lackluster second main. He actually got stuffed by his teammate El Hombre. I don't even think he meant to do it, but 5th in the second main, 4th in the third main, just short. He was right there making a push on Webb in that third main, but as we've seen so many times before, Cooper Webb barely holds on over Ken Roxon. I think we might have him covered in the mental department. But a great night for Kickstart regardless. Then a 4th for Eli Tomac. Fire and ice at the National. A 3, a 13, and a 1. And I'm just so glad this guy's okay. That was a scary crash. I saw that he commented on the Supercross Instagram that he hit his back brake on accident up the face, so that's what sent him to Indonesia. But you win your championships on your bad days, and how about the 3, a 13, and a 1? Immediate bounce back to win that final main event. And even in the second main, that was a big crash, but he got right back up, dug deep, and that's what salvaged him a 4th overall, and he continues to maintain the red plate, so things are still looking good for Eli Tomac and the KTM team. But things are not looking quite as good for our 5th place guy, Chase Sexton on the Kawasaki with a 2, 9, and a 6. I feel like this was another one that got away for Chase. A lot of mistakes, bad starts. How did this dude almost hit the gate again? Like, are you serious? I hate to criticize a guy that's like lapped me every time I race him, but oh my gosh, it's getting out of hand. But after the win last weekend, not the night Sexton was looking for this weekend. He's still far from out of this thing. He's well within range, but he's going to have to clean up the mistakes for sure if he wants to make a title run out of this thing. Then a 6th overall, Jason Anderson. I feel like he was way better on the night than the 6 shows, but he went 6, 7, and a 5 for 6th. He was losing a little bit of ground late. I was talking to him the other week. He was talking about how he's getting a little bit older. Got to be a little bit more specific and careful with his training and stuff like that. So maybe a little bit of late race fading is in the contract while he's still trying to recover from all that World Supercross travel, but he's got speed. He's been getting great starts. He's been aggressive, and he's been everything we love about Team Fried. Then a 7th, Jorge Prado. I thought this dude was actually maybe going to win this thing at one point. He's an awesome starter, a great defensive rider, and I figured the short mains would definitely play to his strengths, which they did in the first 2, but then in the third main, not sure what happened because he went 5, 3, 11. So the last main did him in. I can only assume it was a bad start, and Prado is pretty start dependent. If he gets a great start, he's a front runner, and if he gets a bad one, he's not really quite sure what to do with himself just yet, especially in Supercross, so we may see rides like this whenever he gets a bad start, but still, 7th overall, and literally everything Prado has done this year has been pretty much world class. Rounding out this 450 top 10, a quiet 8th for Malcolm Stewart with an 8, 6, 10. Still got to give him a shout out for even being out there and racing and being a warrior through the shoulder injury after he got landed on by Justin Barcia. A 9th for J. Coop, a 9, 4, and a 12. The 4 was good, but the 9 and the 12, I'm not sure what's going on. And this has been a weird year for J. Coop. I came into this thing not sleeping on him for once. I had some expectations for him, and he hasn't quite met them, so lackluster start to the year, but it's a long season. We got 17 of these things, and he's got time to claw back. Dylan Ferrandis on the Ducati with an 11, 10, and a 7. I feel like it's been quiet, but it's been a very solid debut start for the Ducati team. Barcia looked good until he landed on Mookie at A1, and Ferrandis, I feel like he's been exactly the same as he would have been on any other bike, like the Yamaha and the Honda. So for a new brand coming into Supercross, I mean, they've never done this before. I feel like that's about all you can ask for, is just to be another one of the boys. But that's the 450 class, and then some quick thoughts on the SMX Next class. A win for Caden Dudney. This kid's legit. Awesome rider, great technical skill, and even in the last year, he has come so far in Supercross. He definitely looks ready for the next step, and I would not be surprised if Star Racing puts him in the East Coast for Supercross. Then a 2nd for Triumph's Deegan Deno, a great ride for him as well. Very impressive how polished Dudney and Deno looked at the front for being amateurs in the big stage in Supercross in front of the crowd and all that. And then a 3rd, a Star Racing 1-3, Landon Gordon rounds out the podium. Hasn't quite been getting the starts up there with Dudney and those guys and been able to fight for the wins, but he's still been looking really good on that new Star Racing ride for this year. Then a fourth for my guy Justin Turner on the Club MX Yamaha. Great rider, great kid. I'm a fan, and look for Justin to turn some heads here coming soon, because at the practice track, he battles it out with the top dogs every day at Club MX. Rounding out the top 5 is Jeremy Fapani. He's been doing some arena cross racing, I think in preparation for SMX Next, so the carnage that happened last weekend was probably nothing to him. And then last guy on my list, a 12th place for Vincent Way, a whole shot, running up front, but unfortunately a big crash at the end of the whoops while he was trying to run it in on Deegan. But that's why these guys are doing this SMX stuff. They're trying to get experience. They're trying to work out the kinks and get the mistakes out of the way before they actually get to the 250 class. And that's what happened. Crash for Way. I'm sure a lesson learned, and he'll be back next time. But that's all I got for you guys. Huge thanks to y'all for tuning in. As always, please let me know in the comments what you thought of the video, if you liked it, if you disagreed with my takes, if you agreed, if I'm a cooked unit, if the video sucked, or anything in between. You guys know we're here for all of that stuff. But up next is Glendale next weekend, and in Arizona, you'll have arena cross racing on Friday and then supercross on Saturday. What a weekend of racing. But thank you guys again for watching. Really appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. No choice.